My name is Lauren Pierce. I'm 34 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I've dreamed of being a mom. I grew up in a small town in Oregon, and I always told myself that one day, no matter how hard it was, I'd build the kind of home I never had, full of love, laughter, and safety. And I did. After years of heartbreak, failed fertility treatments, endless doctor appointments, and late-night prayers that no one ever heard me whisper, I finally became a mother through adoption. The day I brought my twins, Ethan and Lily, home was the happiest day of my life. I poured every piece of myself into giving them a childhood better than mine. I work from home as a freelance graphic designer so I can be there when they wake up, when they laugh, when they cry. I've been there for every scraped knee, every bad dream, every "Mom, look at me" moment. And then, one Sunday afternoon, my entire world cracked open. My sister Chloe was over for a visit. She has always been the one my parents praised. Beautiful, confident, always perfect. But this time she crossed a line I never imagined she'd cross. While I was in the kitchen making lunch, Chloe sat Ethan and Lily down and told them, flat out, that I wasn't their real mom. She told them who their biological mother was, and she filmed it. When I walked back in, my kids were crying, asking if I had lied to them their whole lives. I froze. My heart felt like it was being ripped out of my chest. And in that moment, something inside me broke. Growing up, my family looked picture perfect from the outside. The white picket fence, Sunday dinners, smiling family photos on the mantel. But on the inside, it felt like I was always on the outside looking in. My parents, Diane and Mark Pierce, adored Chloe. She was the golden child. Straight A's, cheer captain, homecoming queen. Every milestone of hers was celebrated with banners, parties, and endless praise. Me? I was the quiet one, the kid who stayed in her room drawing, reading, trying to stay out of the way. If Chloe was sunshine, I was the shadow. I remember one birthday in particular. I had spent weeks saving my allowance to buy ingredients so I could bake my own cake. A little chocolate cake with purple frosting. The entire time, Mom kept saying, "We'll celebrate later, honey. We're just so busy with Chloe's dance competition this weekend." When later finally came, I got a grocery store cupcake with one candle stuck in it. That's the way it always was. Chloe got the spotlight. I got what was left over. And because of that, I grew up trying to earn love, to prove I was enough. I'd bring home good grades, do extra chores, stay quiet when I wanted to scream. But nothing ever made them see me the way they saw her. It didn't take long for Chloe to learn how much power she had over me. She'd take my clothes without asking, tell my secrets at school, laugh when I cried. And when I'd go to my parents for help, they'd say, "She's your sister, Lauren. Don't be so sensitive." That phrase, "Don't be so sensitive," became the soundtrack of my childhood. And so, when I grew up and finally got the chance to build my own family, I swore I would never make my children feel like I felt. I swore they would never have to question whether they were loved, whether they belonged. Which is why Chloe's betrayal, telling my kids that I wasn't their real mom, cut so deep. It was like I was that little girl again, standing alone in the shadow, begging someone to see me. When I decided to become a mom, I knew it wouldn't be easy. But I never imagined just how much it would take out of me. At 28, after 3 failed rounds of IVF and 1 heartbreaking miscarriage, my doctor gently told me that carrying a child might not be possible. I remember sitting in my car in the hospital parking lot, gripping the steering wheel, sobbing until my chest ached. But I wasn't ready to give up. I researched adoption agencies, spent nights filling out endless forms, got fingerprinted, went through interviews that felt more like interrogations. Every dollar I earned from freelance design went into savings. I sold my car, took on extra work, even skipped meals sometimes just to make it happen. And finally, I got the call. A set of twins had been born prematurely and needed a home. I didn't even hesitate. The first time I held Ethan and Lily in that tiny hospital NICU, I whispered, "You're mine." Forever motherhood wasn't glamorous. The first year was a blur of 3 a.m. feedings, diapers, doctor's visits, and anxiety attacks that I was doing everything wrong. But I never complained. I had waited too long to become a mom. Every sleepless night felt like a blessing. Chloe, of course, didn't see it that way. When she'd visit, she'd joke, "Wow, you really signed up for chaos, huh? You could have just waited to have your own." Or she'd make little digs like, "It's sweet that you love them like they're yours." Every comment felt like a pinprick. I'd smile through it, tell myself she didn't mean it, that she'd come around eventually. I wanted my kids to have an aunt in their life. I wanted them to have the family I never truly had. But no matter what I did, inviting her to birthdays, sending her photos, making her the cool aunt, Chloe never really saw me as a mother. And slowly I started to notice Ethan and Lily picking up on her words. One day, Ethan asked me, "Mom, why does Aunt Chloe say we don't look like you?" My stomach sank. That was the first time I realized Chloe's words were starting to plant doubt, and I was terrified of where it might lead. It happened on what was supposed to be a quiet Sunday afternoon. Chloe stopped by unannounced, as she often did, saying she had something fun planned for the kids. I was in the kitchen making grilled cheese sandwiches when I heard her laugh from the living room. At first, I thought nothing of it, but then I heard Ethan's small, confused voice. "What do you mean she's not our real mom?" My hands went cold. I dropped the spatula and ran into the living room. Chloe was sitting on the couch, phone held up like she was filming a TikTok, while Ethan and Lily sat frozen, wide-eyed, tears already brimming. "She deserves to know," Chloe said casually, still holding up the phone. "They should know who their real mother is. You can't hide it forever. Lauren." I snatched the phone from her hand and stopped the recording. "Get out," I said, my voice shaking so hard I barely recognized it as mine. Ethan burst into tears. Lily crawled into my lap and asked, "Mommy, did you lie to us?" I wanted to explain, to soothe them, but I was shaking too hard to speak. All I could do was hold them while Chloe rolled her eyes and muttered, "You're being dramatic." For the first time in my life, I didn't cry in front of her. I just stood up, holding my children's hands, and walked to the door. "Leave," I said again, quieter this time. Chloe looked stunned, like she hadn't expected me to actually stand up to her, but I didn't wait to see if she listened. I closed the door behind her and locked it. And then, when the house was quiet again, I sank to the floor and sobbed into my hands, Ethan and Lily clinging to me. Something inside me knew. This was the last time I would ever let my sister hurt us. That night, after I finally got Ethan and Lily to sleep, I sat alone in the dark living room and stared at the silent phone on the coffee table. Chloe hadn't texted, hadn't called, nothing. But I wasn't waiting for an apology anymore. For the first time, I saw it clearly. My sister wasn't going to change, and my parents would only tell me to forgive and forget, just like they always had. If I stayed, my kids would grow up doubting me, doubting the love I had fought so hard to give them. I couldn't let that happen. So, I made a decision. Within a week, I put the house up for rent. I sold off furniture, packed every box myself, and signed Ethan and Lily up for a new school in a town 3 hours away. The day we left, I didn't tell anyone. Not my parents. Not Chloe. No tearful goodbyes. No explanations. Just silence. The first few months were brutal. Ethan had nightmares, waking up crying, asking if I'd go away too. Lily became quiet, clinging to me wherever I went. I spent hours sitting with them on the floor of our small rental, explaining over and over that I was their mom, that I would never leave them. Therapy helped. Slowly, the questions became fewer, the crying less frequent. I found work at a local design studio, not as glamorous as freelancing for big city clients, but steady. And I met other single parents at the kids' school who became friends, even family. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. We started creating new traditions: Friday night pizza parties, Saturday morning pancake breakfasts. The house began to feel like a home again, not just a hiding place. One evening, months after we'd moved, Ethan came up to me as I was tucking him in and said, "Mom, I don't care who had us first. You're my mom." I had to turn away so he wouldn't see the tears streaming down my face. In that moment, I realized I had made the right choice. I had chosen peace over pain. And slowly, day by day, we began to heal. It didn't take long before my phone started buzzing again. First, it was my mom. "Lauren," she said, her voice clipped. "You can't just take the kids away like this. Chloe feels terrible about what happened. You owe her a chance to make it right." I almost laughed. Owe her? I told her we were fine, that we needed space. A week later, Chloe texted me for the first time since that day. "Chloe, hey, I was just joking, you know. The kids deserve to know the truth eventually. You totally overreacted." My hands shook as I read it. Not an apology, not even close. Just the same dismissive attitude she'd always had. Then came the guilt trips. My dad called, sounding weary. "Sweetheart, your mom isn't feeling well. She misses her grandchildren. Do you really want her to go through this stress without seeing them?" The old me would have caved. I would have packed up the kids and driven back, hoping for a warm welcome that never came. But this time was different. I took a deep breath and said, "If Mom wants to see them, she can come here. But we're not coming back. Not until Chloe understands what she did." There was silence on the other end. Then Dad sighed. "You've changed, Lauren." "Yes," I said softly. "I have." After that, the calls slowed down. The messages became less frequent. And with every day that passed, I felt stronger. Chloe posted pictures on social media, hinting that I was keeping the kids away and turning them against the family. Some of my old friends messaged me, asking if it was true. I didn't bother defending myself anymore. I had nothing to prove. My only job was to protect Ethan and Lily, even if that meant protecting them from the people who shared my blood. It's been over a year since that day. The day Chloe broke my kids' trust and tried to shatter the home I built. Our life looks completely different now. Ethan and Lily are thriving. Ethan just joined the school soccer team, and Lily is taking art classes. She loves drawing just like I did as a kid. They laugh freely now, and when they call me Mom, there's no hesitation in their voices. Just certainty. Sometimes, on quiet evenings, I sit on the porch after they're asleep and think about everything we went through. For a long time, I believed walking away from my family meant I was failing, that I was being selfish. But now I see the truth. Walking away wasn't punishment. It was survival. If I had stayed, I would have been teaching my children that it's okay to let people disrespect you, that family can hurt you and you just have to take it. Instead, I taught them something else. That love is proven through actions, not bloodlines. That family isn't about who shares your DNA. It's about who shows up for you, who protects you, who chooses you every single day. I still don't know if Chloe will ever understand what she did. Maybe she never will. But I do know this. I will never again beg for a place in someone's life who doesn't respect me. I am my children's mother, not because I gave birth to them, but because I have fought for them every single day. And if anyone out there is listening, anyone who feels trapped in a toxic family cycle, Please hear me when I say this. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's the bravest thing you can do. And sometimes, the family you build is far more real than the one you were born into.